I had a highly requested video to make that I thought I would go ahead and get out of the way before I do any more tutorials. I've had a lot of people asking me about my haircut, and I understand that a lot of you have not seen my older videos dealing with ideal haircuts for vintage styles and the Middy haircut. So I thought I'd just go ahead and make this video just to kind of give you an idea of what my haircut looks like when it's not styled. I went ahead and just washed it and dried it today so you could see what it looks like when it's not styled. This was a haircut that was given to me by Robin Tucker here in Memphis. And it's a haircut of her own design. The only thing that she keeps in mind when she does my hair, when she cuts my hair, is she keeps in mind what my personal aesthetic is. And her haircuts, for me, do the best with vintage styling of any I've ever had. So really, it's not as much about a specific haircut as it is about your stylist understanding what your goals are. If your stylist just gives you layers, it's not going to work out. If your stylist just gives you a Middy haircut by diagram, sometimes that might not be the best haircut for you. I have come to realize over the years that the Middy haircut is not the best for me. And if you look at the video links below, you'll see my videos about the Middy haircut. A brief background on that: the Middy haircut was a haircut that was created around the 40s, and it was basically for, layers and tapered layers were popular well before that. However, in the 40s, the Middy was considered the responsible haircut to have because it was a haircut that worked for the majority of hair textures and shapes, or textures and thicknesses. And it was something that was really conducive to pin curls and could actually make give you that kind of movie star layered style that was very popular at the time. Veronica Lake being one of the only ones who kept her hair long. The majority of celebrities had a shorter layered haircut called the Middy. Back. Someone who had a traditional Middy would have really been probably Ingrid Bergman, had a kind of traditional 4-inch layered Middy. Jean Tierney also had a traditional layered Middy for a while there. There was also the Middy Long, which was a little bit longer, and there was also the Baby, which was a little bit shorter. The layers on the Baby were about 3 inches. The layers on the Middy Long were 4 inches on the sides, but then it was around 6 inches at the longest point. And then there was also just different haircuts that were variations on that to work with whatever particular styles you wanted to work with. For instance, a 4-inch length on the side would not have been long enough to do a good successful victory roll. So therefore there were variations in the styling books of the day that discussed how you could alter the haircut to suit your needs when it came to rolls and more elaborate hairstyles. So that was really what it was all about. It was about layers and working with your hair texture. And unfortunately, a traditional Middy on me, because my hair is so fine and thin, even a pin curl set just does not maintain as well as it could with a little longer layers. And I've noticed that especially, a wet set is much better, but noticed especially on a heated set, what it will do is it will just start to feather and look sort of 70s, and that's not, of course, what I'm after. So a traditional Middy on me is not the best option. For someone who has wavy hair or very thick hair, it's going to be a really, really great option for you. And I have seen it on a lot of different types of hair, and that does seem to be the hair that it is most successful with when it comes to a traditional 4-inch layer Middy. Now, for me, I've discovered that just simply finding a stylist who has an understanding of vintage style and letting them know that I need my hair to be tapered and layered so that it falls in a U shape at the back, that's all I need to say. I can show them pictures of the hairstyles I'm trying to accomplish. I can tell them that, and that's it. Unfortunately, until now, I could not find that stylist. It seemed like most stylists wanted to give me blunt layers, and if they didn't give me blunt layers, they didn't give me quite the right number and taper of layers. Like my hair didn't fall at quite the right way. So Robin has a very, very good understanding of that. And so that's what I would suggest, is find a stylist who understands vintage style, who loves vintage style, and who will know how a vintage style is supposed to look straight. If you can't find that person, unfortunately, keep looking. So this is what my haircut looks like. You can see that it has been layered all over, and that the back falls longest right at the middle part. And this haircut works so well with my styles and my wet sets that I don't have to, I can use setting lotion, of course, but it just maintains over the course of the day, even in high humidity, unlike any other haircut I've had. That's really all I have to say about it. I don't want to get too technical. I don't want to tell you to stick to a Middy diagram, because over the years I've come to realize that it's not the best option for me, and so therefore I don't want to tell you anything too technical. But I do feel like it's very important that once again you find a stylist that understands vintage style, that you stick with that stylist once they get it, and that you just kind of try to work with slightly different cuts for your texture and your thickness that will give you the best results. So that's all I really have to say about that. One other thing I want to mention is, if you're not after the traditional 1940s styles that are the kind that especially the kind that I've done that are more traditional, if you're not after that particular look, if you're after instead a look that involves bangs, if you're after which I might cut bangs into this very soon because I miss my bangs. But if you're into a look that involves bangs, if you're wanting more of a Betty Page look, or if you're wanting more of a Rita Hayworth look, Rita Hayworth had layers too. Almost any texture and thickness of hair will work with a Rita Hayworth style if the hair is layered. Your hair does need to be layered. If you're wanting just Veronica Lake style waves, you can get away with just a little light layering at the bottom and keep your hair long, and then you can do a lot of elaborate updos. I always recommend I Love Gerardo for somebody who does excellent. Her name's Iris, of course. I think it's Iris. I think she goes by Iris here on YouTube now. But she actually does really great, beautiful vintage hairstyles with her long, thick hair. She has no intention of cutting her hair. So you can still do vintage styles with long hair and with just light layering at the bottom. They're just not quite the same, and they're not traditional, because of course if you're wanting traditional, then you would go with the haircut that they had back in the day. For Betty Page hair, if you're just wanting the little Betty Page bangs and longer, wavier hair, again, a light layering at the bottom will help keep those waves in, and then just have somebody cut you a nice U-shaped bang. And I've got videos about that as well. But I don't necessarily recommend those videos for everybody, because like I said, everybody's hair is different. So again, find a stylist that understands a U-shaped bang. Do not guess that your stylist understands it immediately. The cuts have to be made very precise, and they have to be made in a U shape, or it's not going to fall correctly. But yeah, that's everything about haircuts. Let me know if you have any other questions, if there was something in this video that I did not answer for you. And hopefully this isn't too disappointing. I wanted to do a tutorial every week, but I felt like this was something that was important that needed to be said. So instead of a tutorial this week, let's just keep it at this one. And yeah, that's all.